Hi, everyone. Today, let's talk about stocks I'm trading, earnings edition. Earnings season is upon us, and you can see a lot of the major players are starting to announce their earnings this coming week. Amazon, Twitter, Facebook, eBay, Google, UPS, Activision, Apple. The list goes on and on. So let's talk about some of these stocks and where we think they might go for earnings. But first, I'm going to talk about what earnings presents to us as options traders. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So what do earnings mean for us options traders? You can see the IV percentage here is the highest of all of the ranks, and that's because it is right after that earnings play. So earnings here is on 28 October. This is for Twitter, and this option expires on October 30th. So that means this option is the very next option right after earnings, and it will be the most impacted by this earnings announcement. And you can see here, the stock is trading for around $50.61, and the expected move here is all the way down to $45 or all the way up to $56. So that means the expected move is 10% in either direction, which is a pretty dramatic move. And comparing that out to the 45-day option, which is what I would look at normally, you can see the expected move is only down to around $42 a share. So the stock is expected to move its maximum range basically in the next week as it is in the next 41 days. And that's the kind of volatility that you're going to see from an earnings trade. It provides the opportunity to basically trade a standard 45-day option in just 1 week. It doesn't provide any actual edge, because obviously you don't know what the earnings are going to be prior to their announcement. Could be good, could be bad, and could be indifferent. But it gives you more iterations and more chances to be correct. And when you see that the volatility is very high, over 10% in a stock like Twitter, that tends to be an option seller's benefit because generally they don't move as much as the expected move. And if they don't move quite that much, then obviously that is a benefit for those of us who are selling options. If you have any questions on that, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I might do a more in-depth video on what earnings trades are and how I trade them. But make sure you let me know down in the comment section if that's something you would be interested in. I want to look at Snapchat here for just a second. They already announced their earnings, and you can see it had a pretty dramatic move immediately after announcement, and that move has continued to the upside. Now, Snapchat is an ad-based business. They don't make money directly from the application. It's all through the sale of advertisements and the viewing of users. And this is generally the business model for most social media, if not all. And I want to take this into account because companies like Facebook and Twitter are going to be announcing their earnings. And if ad revenue for Snapchat is up pretty dramatically, you can generally assume that Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, any of these companies that rely on advertising revenue are probably going to see better than expected ad revenues. And as such, going into the earnings, I'm probably not going to have any short positions on any of those stocks. I expect them to return pretty strong earnings. I may or may not get long the stock prior to those announcements, but at the very least, I'm not going to be short any of those stocks going into the announcement. So getting into some of these companies here, we have First Solar. First Solar's been on quite a tear, and anything to do with solar or renewable energies has been doing very well recently. And when companies tend to do very well, I try not to get short those stocks. It is at all-time highs right now, and I don't know a ton about the company, but the IV percentile is very good. And when the IV percentile is very good, you tend to have a little bit better percentage chance of turning a profit as an option seller. So I would probably trade this stock as a neutral to bullish trade. Looking at Amazon, I continue to be bullish on Amazon. And again, it has a very high IV percentile. Anything over 50 to me is considered high. Pfizer, I'm long going into this trade as well. And this one is a pre-market announcement, which tends to move a little bit less. So I'll probably be neutral on that trade. Twitter, again, as I mentioned, this is an ad-based business and I expect it to do pretty well. eBay, this is a little bit of a Rona play, and I do expect it to do well. Facebook, again, I'm not going to be short that stock at all. Google, I probably won't trade Google at all as it is a very expensive stock. Be aware of that with Amazon as well. Those stocks are very expensive and it requires a lot of capital to trade those. Looking at UPS, Again, another pre-market announcement, so I'll probably trade that neutral. Moving over to Activision, they continue to do very well as a business, and I'm currently long Activision at the 75 puts, and I do expect them to do well going into earnings as video game sales have continued to go up, and they're also starting to raise prices on video games, which could potentially bring in more revenues in the years to come. Skechers, neutral. Some of these companies did do very well last quarter, and they were exceeding expectations. And I probably won't trade Skechers on this one, and I will use it as a tool to help guide future retailers' earnings trades. Maxim, I don't have an opinion on the company, and I will probably trade this as a neutral trade. Apple, I do think Apple is priced in right here at around $115, $120 a share. Ralph Lauren, again, this is a retailer, and I think retailers are pretty priced in after their last announcements. Again, this is a pre-market announcement, and I will probably trade it as a neutral trade. Western Union, this is another company that I am neutral on. And then for these last set of trades here, they're getting pretty low in IV rank. And anything below 30%, I don't trade at all. So that would mark off OZK off my list completely. And I probably won't trade anything below this 43% just for this iteration. I don't actually know any of these stocks either, so it definitely dissuades me from trading them. But otherwise, it's pretty exciting going into this week of a lot of high caliber earnings plays. Let me know down in the comments section if you're going to trade any of these earnings plays. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask those down there as well. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. And have a great day.